In Haiti became a little clearer today. Estimates now speak of perhaps 200,000 people dead. And while aid is continuing to arrive, there is still massive need. Much is still not reaching survivors. Reports speak of looters particularly prizing toothpaste. It can be smeared beneath the nostrils to disguise the smell of putrefaction. Matt Fry is in Haiti for Newsnight.
Jeremy, not just toothpaste, but also limes or air freshener. I mean, anything, quite frankly, that gets rid of the smell. It really is quite awful, even here, actually, at the moment. As you said, Jeremy, looting is a big problem. Anarchy is spreading in many parts of the city. And this story is really changing from one that's just about relief. And as you said, a lot of relief hasn't yet got through to the people who need it most. I mean, they're certainly arriving at the airport in massive numbers, but to actually get that to the people who really need this stuff immediately has not yet happened to the large numbers that you would expect. But what also is taking place is in this state where there's really sort of no functioning government, anarchy is really breaking out. I mean, I was in the center of town today and the place was falling apart. There was very little security. And at the same time, you have the bigger question is, what on earth do they do with Port-au-Prince and Haiti once all the aid agencies leave? What is the long-term plan for rebuilding this capital, this nation, if you like, from scratch? Well, I went to ask a couple of those questions as I toured around town, and I have to give you a warning that some of the images here are pretty disturbing. At night, Port-au-Prince is a place inhabited by shadows and haunted by a growing list of fears. For security, for food, for the simple business of survival. This is one of the dozens of caravanserais that have sprung up all over the capital since the earthquake. This one is tantalizingly close to the airport, where all the aid is flying in. They can hear the planes land, but they have yet to see any of the cargo. Est-ce que tu as reçu de l'aide? Non. Have you received any help? I asked David. No, he said. Nothing. But even if aid will trickle in, is there even a future for a capital that has become a tent city? Here's the camp outside the crushed White House, the president's former home. His citizens left very much to their own resources. Here's the one in Pétionville. The square is named after one of the former slaves turned rebel leaders who defeated the French 2 centuries ago and founded the second oldest republic in the hemisphere. But the dignity of Haiti's past is long forgotten. Until last Tuesday, this was one of the richest neighborhoods, up in the breezy hills. For Josephine, a journalist with one of the local papers, the sky is now the roof over her head. What about your house?
My house is
gone.
gone, yeah.
How long will you stay here?
I don't know. I don't have anywhere we go. I don't know.
From the indignity of living to the indignity of dying. In a city that has mastered the grotesque, it doesn't get worse than this. The open-air makeshift morgue at the General Hospital. The bodies are simply dumped, waiting for the bulldozers. This is where they end up, at one of the city's cemeteries. The grave diggers of Port-au-Prince are being kept very busy these days. So Charles is one of the chief grave diggers here, and what he's just explained to me is that there are 300 bodies in this mass grave here. And the way they did it is they burnt them first of all. You can still see how the ground is blackened here. This is where they burnt them. There was a kind of makeshift funeral pyre. And then they put the burnt, half-burnt bodies into this hole here. You can still smell it, and you can see the flies. This, then, is the final resting place for those who cannot afford the $1,000 or more to buy one of these, a place in Port-au-Prince's new catacombs. When hell is the new normal, it's not surprising that this is becoming a city on the edge of a nervous breakdown. We came across Joseph and Michelle digging in the rubble with the determination of expert rescuers. They'd spent half an hour in the entrails of this small department store still full of bodies. And this was his trophy, a few batteries and torches. Everything is up for grabs, anything that can fetch a price. A Stars and Stripes curtain, a carpet roll with a dollar pattern, if only they were real. Looting is now the only industry here, and this is the new rush hour of Port-au-Prince. Anything will do as a weapon, a hacksaw, a stick, And of course all the machetes and guns that you can't see. The airport is beginning to resemble a film set courtesy of Pentagon Productions. Aid is being flown in by the minute. The Americans have begun distributing water and food. Haiti will soon be back on life support thanks to the international community. But the promise of generosity also creates expectations, and expectations are creating anger. This was the scene outside one UN compound this morning. Most of the people here were looking for work, but this man was looking for food.
Because we are thirsty, we are hungry.
If there's a queue in Haiti, people will join it, in the vain hope of getting something. Patience is running out, and all the ingredients for unrest now exist. At this gate alone, there are perhaps 2,000 or 3,000 people expecting some sort of work, a whole city of destitute hoping for help. And at the same time, of course, you have a substantial criminal element and a history of violence. None of this bodes well for Haiti. The US soldiers are here to help deliver food and relief. 10,000 of them are due in and around this city by the end of today. But if the anarchy spreads, they may soon find themselves patrolling the streets in what will look like a full-scale military operation. Hard to imagine that all this started barely a week ago with an earthquake.